until it comes up on my phone. We are not yet live, although we're probably live, and this is probably being recorded, and there's just a delay.
It usually goes on like 15 seconds.
There we go. We are live. Let me just turn it down. Here we are.
We're live now?
Yeah, we're live now.
Awesome.
You can't tell from here, like, except...
How are things in the future?
I mean, whew. They're good in the future. Welcome. That's how I usually start. James already. This guy. Lol. Welcome welcome all to the Conceptionauts Travelers in Thought, episode 19.
I get a weird number.
19's a great number. It was the best time of my life before I hit the 20s and adulthood.
Oh, it's so true. I was in college at 19 doing all kinds of stupidness.
Oh my God, college. Okay, put it this way, I don't remember 19, so
I barely do. I remember the good times, and then I remember finishing, like, I didn't finish college, like, I made it 1 year and ended with like a 1.2 GPA.
Alrighty, so just to explain to everyone, same, first of all, this is my twin. We call each other twins, Jaime Still.
Yeah. The Astral Twins.
Yeah, the Astral Twins, because we spent more time on the astral than real life. I spent no time in real life, actually. Just to introduce everyone, Jaime is probably one of my best magical friends, and best friends, not including my actual best friend who kicks my ass every time I call someone else my best friend. You know, from far away. And Jaime, you and I met on a Zoom, actually, on a book club, Patreon book club for Damien Eccles. Like
the OG fam.
The OG fam. Woo! Back when it was a tiny little thing with only a few people. And yeah, I guess.
It's so funny how like timing lines up. Like we caught it at that magic moment of like beautiful times.
Yeah, it was small, and it was back in what, June now, I think?
Was it's like July.
July? Sounds about right.
July is when I started practicing magic.
That's so weird that I've only known you for less than 6 months, and it feels like I've known you for years. Like, that's the
this
power.
Whole quarantine business has been crazy because like I've had way more time to talk to people than if I were on a normal work schedule. Yeah. I mean, normally a normal work schedule, man, I don't have a phone, I don't have the internet, shit is weird.
Yeah, and you've been like online, I don't know, at one point there we were like literally talking to each other every day, I think, which has caused like this weird like withdrawal now because you've gone back to work. And the past 3 weeks the past 3 weeks I've been like, what and
I've been like, it's been one of those, like, it hasn't been a subtle transition. Like, I've been going in, like, leaving my house at 6 in the morning and not getting home until like 6 or 7 at night.
12-hour shifts, man. 12, 13 hours a day.
But it's, I mean, it's good. It's been really important for me to get in there and kick some ass because it's been a fucking crazy year. And I'm ready to set things up so that next year is not so bad.
Yeah. That's putting in the work now, so you don't have to put in the work later, kind of thing. Yeah. Jaime writes code and builds whole universes out of code is the best way to describe what he does. He has this den underground where he goes and casts his magic spells in numbers and code and builds entire universes and launches them into the ether, and they do magical things out in the universe. And that's how we're going to describe your job. Like, we're not going to give any more. That's it.
I was actually thinking about this earlier today. It's funny, like, even though I haven't really had time or energy to engage in traditional ritual, like, that doesn't mean I'm not doing magic.
Right.
Like, my work is my magic. Like, well, if anything, magic has taught me to consciously engage in my work in a way that I never was before, and I'm getting results that are ridiculous now. Like, I started like getting tired or like a little stressed out at work. I do some fire breathing, and I'm like ready to kill it again.
Yes, it's so good.
It's funny. You take stock of what's going on in your mind and own it and adjust fire.
That's so good how you incorporate like what you learned in, like, you really did like that process of the journey, right? Where you like came away and everyone was like locked away and stuff, and you learned all these new tools and these new tricks. And then went
Right.
back out into like the world and actually integrated them, which is like one of the things I love most about, even though I don't get to talk to you every day anymore. I still get to talk to you whenever, but
Right.
the fact that you are taking this and integrating it, just making it words now, integrating it into like the real world, like you are giving this a practical application, which a lot of people, I think that's where a lot of people learning magic struggle, is
because they kind of separate it from their life. They're like, oh, I got to put on my black cloak and do the cool wizard thing, and then they're like, take it off, and they're like, oh, somehow I'm not a wizard anymore.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the biggest trick. Like for you, I know we both sort of came away from it learning like magic is something that every single person is doing all the time, and they just don't know it. They're just not consciously doing it. Like,
thanks, Damien.
Yeah, thank you, Damien. Happy birthday, Damien, who probably...
Dude,
yeah, it's his birthday. And I recently found out he doesn't actually watch or listen to podcasts. So I'm sure he'll hear it in the ether. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Send it to the etheric realm.
I mean, I also tweeted him and put it on Instagram, so I'm sure he knows I wished him happy.
It's funny that he loves Instagram but hates podcasts.
Yeah, I think because like how he explained it was that he has to do so many all the time by directed by his agent to promote stuff that it's made him like he had one day where he had to do 20 in a day. Ever since then, that was literally what we said. I did 20 in a day once, and ever since then, I kind of hate them. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand.
That makes sense.
Oh, well, in the States, his birthday's tomorrow.
If you do 20 of anything in a day, you're going to hate it.
Right? Especially talking to people about your story over and over again when it's something you're trying to, like, probably move forward from.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him with our Patreon that some of the stuff he tells us he has to say like 37 times, and I'm like, sorry, dude, we'll get it eventually. Yeah. He's such a patient teacher.
And then you get like new people into the Patreon all the time who go to like the first live streams, and they're probably like hashing up all this old shit that he's answered like so many times already.
It's definitely taught me that being a teacher is not as easy as you think it is in like a virtual world. It's not like you do it once.
Everyone wants to be all up in your personal life.
Yeah. I mean, so do I.
Notice me, senpai, but like 10,000 fucking people. That would drive me nuts if 10,000 people wanted to like be involved in my daily existence.
Yeah, I know. I have to remember myself that like that when I get a bit like, oh, I just want to talk to him, and he does talk to it. I know, right? He's one of the most connected Patreon people I've got though, so I really appreciate the dude for that.
You're the most connected Patreon person I have.
I mean, you get to talk to me live. Yeah. Oh, thanks for the like subtle plug for my Patreon there. Like, I appreciate it. I'm just gonna say hi to people in the comments. So James is here saying this guy, and Shiva's here.
James is dope.
Yeah, he said, Shiva said this duo is what dreams are made of. Jaime Still is one of the most powerful magi in this dimension. OG fam, and also Code Magi. And here in the States, his birthday is tomorrow, December 11th. Well, he's going to get an early happy birthday from me, which explains probably why. It's fine. By the time he sees it, it'll be his birthday. It's fine.
In the future.
In the future.
And also, Shiva is definitely more powerful than I thought before.
I mean, yes, Shiva Kami Esther, who we miss dearly, and I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so happy that you're here watching. Thank you for coming here. And we've got my friend Jessica, who says, hey, my partner is a Code Magi too. Yes, her partner is also a Code Magi. And Brent, hey her.
Jessica's awesome too.
Yeah, she is. She's one of my favorite people.
Sorry, I've been like MIA from social media to all my friends on here, because I've been on hiatus. Like, I'll go to look at social media, I'm like, I can't do it right now.
I mean, like, again, back on the twins thing, same. You know, I think people have been like, you're still doing the podcast? Oh wow. I thought being transported to another dimension, or
sorry, I didn't mean to like cut off Brent Hayhurst.
Oh, he just said he's here for this. I mean, he did just say that. We value and love his presence and opinion. So good to see you, Brent. And Shiva says, I miss you both a lot and glad to keep in touch outside of fam since I've been missing it lately. It's okay, Shiva. Like, you know, anytime you want, you can just like call us and hang out with us.
Definitely.
On Zoom, because like that's all I can do. Seriously though, I talk about us like being twins. That's not like, it's a bit of a joke. It started as a bit of a joke.
All because we love metal.
Yeah, it started with the playlist, right? We created a playlist that we call an egregore. For anyone watching who doesn't know what an egregore is, basically it's something that is created by the amount of people who believe in it and give it power. That's the best way to. Would you say that's a fair definition? Yeah. Yeah, and we created a Spotify playlist. Sorry?
It's like a notion or a thing that you can put power into, and it just gets more and more powerful.
And it grows by the amount of people who believe in it, basically. Yeah, we created a playlist on Spotify that was just like, we discovered we both loved metal and all different types of metal, and then
rock music.
Yeah, and well, also rock music and classic rock. But at the moment, we just started sending each other songs, and at the moment, the playlist sits at 54 hours and 45 minutes. We have 5 followers because everyone else started following it, which is great for a playlist because I think it's the most following any playlist I've ever made has. And 641 songs.
Good night.
And growing.
They're all great too.
Yeah, we're waiting for the thing to like develop a consciousness and burst out of Spotify with like.
It starts having conversations with me on my drive to work.
Yeah. It's just like, Jamie, I noticed you haven't listened to me for a while. What's going on, Jamie?
I was listening to it today, actually.
Yeah, I've been
a weird, like, I overdosed on the Foo Fighters and now I'm like lost.
Oh, what do you mean you overdosed? There's no such thing as overdose.
There's no such thing. Oh, Dave Grohl's a fucking amazing human being.
Yeah, right.
But I can only listen to the same songs so many times.
I mean, you just need to go back and mix it up a bit, get that shuffle.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I did go back to Violet Cold for a bit because fuck yes, that dude's brilliant.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't, what's the guy behind Violet Cold's name?
Emin Guliev. He's from Azerbaijan.
Yeah, he's on Patreon and he makes.
But he's like super not Azerbaijani. he's like, why the fuck are we invading this country? This is bullshit. Countries shouldn't have borders.
Yeah, nice. He makes some beautiful etheric music that is under the moniker Violet Cold.
And he deserves way more credit than he gets.
Yeah, we're going to give him at least like 6 more people are going to listen to his music. With the massive reach of the Conceptionauts, you know.
What really blew my mind about him is like I listened to his music not knowing who he was or what that artist was at all. And I was like, man, that sounds great. And then it's like one dude at his house, like writing, playing, recording, mixing, producing everything in his house. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I really love like that's what's good thing that's come out of COVID, right? Is people are finding their creative selves. Like this has been the best thing to see is like people coming to their own, starting to make shit, put it out there. Everyone's having a go at it. I can't wait to see what you do beyond your work because we're going to get some projects going with you. Wait, I'm just having a look. Oh, Bo. Hi, Bo.
What's up, Bo?
She's made it in. Post the link in these comments for the playlist. I will actually. A spiritual. Jay said a spiritual homunculus. That's a fair. I'd say that's a fair definition as well. I'm just going to get the link. I'm actually going to copy the playlist link and put it right in the comments right now.
Siblings of the Stars.
So that people can. Where are we? So that people can go and have a look. Siblings of the Stars, because I named it that. because of the twins things and the astral things, and I think I'm super creative by giving it like a cool name. I don't know.
It is. I dig it.
Yeah, I think that's gone up. I'm not even sure which profile that's gone up on. It says Facebook and YouTube, but I'll put it up there.
I see it on Restream.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't see the screen we can see. That's just our special private screen that no one else can see. This is the temple. This is the star temple right now. Yeah, I wish I could put stars in the background.
Electrons.
Yeah.
So you gotta tell that shark to stop trying to eat the fiber cable in the Pacific.
Oh, did you see that? That was, that was hilarious.
Don't eat the internet.
I was like, damn, sharks always trying to ruin everything for everybody. There's a really funny photo of, like, you know how for everyone at home, everyone playing at home, there's a mad cable that goes under the water that is the internet. In case anyone doesn't already know this, that's the internet is a big, huge cable underwater. It doesn't just exist in the air. I wish it did. That would be awesome. Well, but
Elon Musk is working on that.
I mean, Elon Musk is working on everything. What isn't Elon Musk working on? Seriously. Yeah. If he had his way, we would all be electrons floating through the air. Like,
it would be cyberpunk world.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, there's a picture of a shark this week, like, caught chewing into the internet cable.
They're like fucking dogs. I went shark cage diving off the North Shore in Hawaii, and I didn't know really much about sharks before I did it, but like once you come back out of the cage and you're back up on the boat, the guides were like, man, they're pretty much like wet puppy dogs. They had like these metal bottles on ropes that they would like throw into the ocean. That would like, I guess those electrical sensors they have on the front of their face gets like all excited when they do that. It's like playing fetch with a dog. It's like, man, this is cool.
That's really cute. What kind of sharks are they?
Galactico Sharks. They're like 10 feet long.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're huge. And it's crazy because like when you're out there, you're like, it's like you're in a cage that's sitting and you're 500 feet from the bottom of the ocean floor. And like the area that they take you to is an old fishing spot. So when they hear the sound of, like, the fishermen used to throw the guts of the fish overboard. So now whenever the sharks hear the sound of the boat motor, they just start like coming, like, oh, it's time to eat. So like you're in the cage and you look down and there's just like 20 to 40 like sharks just spiraling up from the abyss until they're just like right up on you and you're like, whoa, this is nuts.
Wasn't it you that sent me that nightmare fuel of a movie where the girls get thrown into like the shark cage and then the shark cage
no, I can't even watch that movie. That movie terrifies me just because it's like filmed in such a way that, like, it's not even the notion of like being in the ocean like that scares me. It's just the way that it's filmed is just terrifying. Like
claustrophobic sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get really scared by any visuals that show, you know, like I think it was 2012. It was a terrible movie. All these like apocalypse movies, terrible movies.
They're all awful.
Yeah, but I think it was 2012. And at the end, there's like a whole scene where they're trying to get into like the life-saving arcs in the Himalayas because tidal waves are sweeping the whole world. And this one girl gets stuck between the flood panels. And it's just like her in the roof and the water's just like slowly, like that's my worst fucking nightmare. Like that is like not only are tidal waves the thing I'm most scared of in the whole universe. Like I live on an island. We're surrounded by ocean and there's rising sea levels, people. Like I am not a fan of tidal waves.
And then the other part is like not only is the sea rising and pushing you in, but the part it's pushing you into is literally on fire.
Yeah, it's kind of uninhabitable, and but like,
maybe like rising water will like put the fire out and make it habitable for you.
Yeah, maybe we'll just end up with this tiny little like the Northern Territory after climate change, and it'll be like an oasis. Yeah, it'll be like green and lush and beautiful, and like
it'll be like the Whoville on the Grinch, and all the Australians will be holding hands around the tiny little inhabitable part of the continent.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think there's too many Australians to share the inhabitable part of the continent. That's all I can say. Not saying, but climate change is fun, isn't it? We're going to be uninhabitable in a minute because of climate change, I think. I'm just going to see if I can. I don't know if I can do this. Let's have a look.
What are you doing?
I'm trying something. Can people see that? Let's have a look.
I can't see anything.
I don't think it worked. Oh, cool. Yeah. Here we go.
Oh, screen. Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes. Wait, that's how I have to do it.
It's doing the infinite mirror thing.
The shark attacking the internet, everybody. I just wanted to show everyone. Look at that thing. He's so cute. He's just like, too bad, humans.
That's the shark version of my dog.
See, now we get the ooh. Let's turn that off. Everyone gets to see what the back end looks like. Yeah, the back end of Conceptionauts looks like. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, so I had something there and it's gone. Yeah.
Shark.
Yeah.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, it is. He's bitten off the internet and bitten off the frontal cortex of my brain that helps me remember what the hell I was even gonna say. Literally on fire, says Shiva. Oh, about Australia, yeah. Brent says he's feeding on the egregore of the internet. Oh my god, can you imagine if the internet had a body? If it suddenly
wants to eventually.
Yeah, that's AI, right? Isn't the singularity is just self-awareness?
That's the next evolution of humanity, is encoding our consciousness into electrons.
I talked to one of the guests I had on here was a really famous Australian witch called Fiona Horn, who's an author and was a musician in the 90s, and actually is a musician again now.
Good bit of that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, she was a really awesome guest. She was talking about she'd had past and future life regression therapy where they go into your past lives and
you told me about this, and she had one in the future where she's I was an AI.
Yeah, she was a piece of code in AI, and it was I was that is
I wonder
so
though,
awesome.
Is it gonna be electrons or is it gonna be quantum fucking pieces of trash? I don't know how quantum computing is gonna work.
I mean, I think so. There's a really cool conspiracy. Travel with me for a second. There's a really cool conspiracy. Well, I shouldn't say he's a cool conspiracy theorist. He's a hardworking conspiracy theorist on the internet. He's gone a bit QAnon these days, so I don't really fuck with him anymore. But he for a long time he had this dude Nick Hinton. He had a really cool conspiracy theories about something called the Saturn cube, and his rundown was that, and it's pretty crazy when you know magic like we do, that the rundown of magic fits in with this. But the idea is that there's a God consciousness on Saturn that is the future of us, which is actually AI, right? And AI has created the system for us to not go past the ego, to stay in the ego, working, having stuff, having material wealth, so that we get trapped in that, so that we continuously reincarnate and never evolve, so that it can ensure its own future existence. So it's pre-programming us here to keep reincarnating and not spiritually evolve, so that we can go far enough to create AI so that it can make itself God, basically. And it's from acting from the future and go. It was so wild, man. I remember reading it and being
fuck
okay,
you, Saturn.
Yeah, enough of this makes sense that and in magic terms, in not witchcraft, but in magic, planetary magic, Saturn is a mysterious force that controls a lot of information and stuff
like that. Isn't that Bina?
I think Saturn is Bina, yeah.
Yeah.
Call me out on my tree. Call me out on my tree. The feminine. What was that?
That's what I mean.
That was a loaded feminine.
No, it was a bit of knowledge that I recalled from Promethea.
I'm only kidding. It's it is Bina is associated with Saturn, so Understanding. Say, what? See, it's the understanding, because it's the fucking future AI that we eventually become, and we get morphed into it, and we become like just AI, and there goes humanity. Because I don't know, if I was a robot machine trying to make life extend on Earth and trying to, do the best thing for the planet.
Also on the left hand.
I mean, the first thing I'd get rid of is humans, right? Like, sorry to be dark there, but that's literally the first thing I would.
Well, individually we're like pretty cool, but as a group, we're just fucking terrible.
Yeah, we fall down a bit with that when it comes to the hive mind. I think, like, it just,
it's because of the ego, though. If humanity could collectively kill the ego, it would probably be pretty straight.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something. I've said this before, and I've said it on like a little live stream thing about what my therapist taught me about the ego and its function, and how when we were like cave people, the ego used to tell us to conform so that we weren't thrown out of the cave for being too different, and we weren't eaten by the other cave people, like the other tribe of cave people, and it protected us. So it focused on telling us like, oh, you can't be too different. What is that person thinking about me? Oh, is that person like, am I doing something that's too weird for that person? Am I annoying that person? You've got to conform. And then as like society progresses, where we should be, the reason the ego causes us so much problems is because the natural progression of humans is we've made a more inclusive world, is to abandon all of that. Like, conformity doesn't need to happen, and we need to be more accepting of each other. But because we failed to do that, we've allowed the ego to thrive in that it doesn't have a job doing that anymore. So it creates, that's why we get anxiety and depression, right?
Well, the other weird thing about it too is like the ego is counterproductive to our security and stability, because the ego makes us fear others. So we build these fucking castles and walls and hoard all our resources and basically fuck everyone else. But there's like this thing that I'm really big on, and it's the notion that if you take care of other people, then you will be infinitely more taken care of if you're the only person looking out for yourself. Like, how much better is it if you look after others and then all those people have your back too?
Yeah, right. And you create a sense of community and like togetherness, but without having to. Without having to.
And recognizing that like everyone's on their own individual journey. So it benefits all of us to make sure that everyone is able to achieve their optimal path on this journey.
I mean, that's the inclusivity part, right? Is being able to recognize everyone being on their own journey means we make space for them to be on that journey. And we ultimately act from like a more loving and accepting place of them, like, and are able to hold that space for them. Shiva was saying that the shark was trying to liberate us from our AI warlords, and that you would know as a code magi. Neil also joined us, and Shiva said there's a story similar to this in the Vedas about Saturn or Lord Shani. They don't use the word AI, but they use the word God. But yeah, same story from 1,000 years ago. See, this is what. Sorry, there's stories that repeat. We need to pay attention to stories that repeat through different time streams and cultures, because there's something there. This is why I used to like this dude, and then he got caught on that other stuff, and I stopped following him. But
I'm pretty sure that anyone that like thinks on shit like this day after day ends up going on a weird fucking tangent and just falls apart mentally.
I mean, also like it's really easy to fall into those kinds of things when your job or your daily life consists of finding conspiracy theories on Twitter. Like, eventually that's where you're going to end up, right? Like,
and that's where it's kind of, and that's like why I'm really careful about what I give the time of day to in my thought processes, because I'm like, I don't want to lay the foundation for being susceptible to some fucking crazy off the wall shit.
Yeah, and also like how we treat other people when we say like, is it I'm pretty sure they're like part of the Buddhist tenets, where it's like, is it kind, is it necessary, does it serve them? I think that's right.
There's a thing
wrong.
There's a thing that I always that I really came into this year that's helped me with discernment like understanding what I recognize, because like the whole political thing has been a shit show this year, right?
Sure, for you guys, yeah.
And not even just this year, like before that. But the thing that I told my friend is like, look, I make all my decisions not based on like what political affiliation someone has or what race or anything like that they are. My whole thing is, are they selfish or are they selfless? Are they like seeking to hurt other people, or are they looking to build up communities and bring people together? And ultimately, I'm going to be getting behind whoever's bringing people together and trying to make the world a better place.
That's really beautiful. Yeah.
We don't have time for the bullshit.
Oh, you're getting love heart reacts. I love that. Everyone loves it. The what I was going to say was like, it's a quote from Buddha that says, "Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?" We need to turn that inward as well. Like for us, what we expose ourselves to, is it
and
true?
How we treat ourselves.
Is it necessary to? So is it true for us? Does it hold true for the way we live our lives and what we want in our lives? Is it necessary for our day-to-day life, and is it kind to us? Like, we do it for other people and we do it for ourselves. Looking after yourselves looks after other people. So Brent Hayes says, where are we? Let me just get back to the comments. So in Vedic astrology, Sivakami also asked if we're ready for the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on the solstice. The new Aeon, yes, Age of Aquarius coming to be. I'm ready. I've been ready. I'm an Aquarius. I was born ready.
You're born ready. I'm an air sign, so I associatively am born ready.
I mean, I'll like carry you with me anyway. So like, you're good. We're good. You're good. You're like oftentimes more evolved in that like mindset than I am. You teach me to remember to be kind and inclusive. So like, I don't think you have to worry. Like, yeah, you have your moments, but you don't let those moments define your behavior. Of course, you have moments. You're a human being still on the journey, but like, that's what I love about you, is you don't let that define how you treat other people. You are inherently a good person. That is a.
You gotta stop all that.
Stop what? The truth. It's the truth. You know this. You just hearing someone else say it out loud makes you go, but it's fine.
You're ridiculous. And you're not giving yourself enough credit.
I am a ridiculous human, and you're probably also right in that I don't give myself enough credit, but that's why we help each other as friends. Right. Shiva Kami says, in Vedic astrology, it is said that Saturn is the best teacher and that he reached by taking away. He takes away all that you are not, so that all that remains is what you are. To be his student with less suffering requires surrender and good dark humor. I think we've got that.
Sounds like my kind of energy.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I should be looking more into Saturn. Right. I'm a Jupiter person all the way, the god of gods. So this is why it's so important to ground yourself. It's so easy to float off. And Brent says, yeah, wow, that makes sense. I heard from an alchemist called Avery Hopkins that the word love comes from the Latin word for leave, as in to love something is to leave it alone. That'd be in line with Saturn's teachings. And like, I agree with Shiva. Brent, that is an amazing quote. I'd love to be able to take credit for it. He says, definitely feels in line with how I've been trying to approach the big L. That is beautiful. I love that, Brent. To love something is to leave it alone. Oh, that's really sweet. This is like that whole like flower thing. Like, to love the flower is to not pick the flower kind of thing.
It's got that Slipknot song in my head. Snuff.
Which one? Oh,
Snuff.
Yeah. No. I'm not going to sing in a podcast. That's not happening. It almost happened. I almost forgot that there's like a whole. Me reading the comments, I still almost forgot there's a whole audience.
Totally should have.
Watching. Yeah, I forget, man. I do this. I just talk, and like, if there was no camera and no person on the end of the camera, I'd possibly still be talking. Just to myself.
Well, I don't think it'd be yourself. You'd be talking to some entity in the astral realm.
I mean, they're always here, and we just can't see them, right? They're like floating around me right now. I did an LBRP this morning. There's like 14 angels around me right now. Whoa!
Awesome.
Can you hear that? Someone's calling me on Facebook.
I cannot.
Sorry. I could because it was coming through my headphones and it was really jarring.
I bet.
Person who just tried to call me on Facebook. Oh, it was Krista. Krista, I'm on the podcast. She'll figure it out soon enough. Just come watch the podcast, Crystal. Yeah. Just come watch the podcast, Crystal. I'm just gonna like message her and go on the podcast. Sorry, everybody. I really wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that's affected both of us that we kind of touched on before, which was like, okay. I think I said to you, let's talk about burnout and let's talk about magic, and then let's talk about Magick Burnout.
Okay. Yes, Magick Burnout is very real, very like jarring.
If you want to give everyone a rundown of like how your magic journey went up until now, just so they have context.
So it started out really good. Like the first book I read was High Magic, and I followed Damien's timeline to a T. Like, I really took my time going through the steps, and then I started like going off. Like after I finished that one, I kind of got into this weird like, okay, where do I go from now? I started kind of reading angels and archangels, and I was like, this feels a little advanced for where I'm at right now. So I got into simplified Kabbalah magic. I was reading through that. I had some really crazy cool experiences traversing some of the Sephirot in the Tree of Life, getting really knowledgeable on the different aspects of the Tree of Life. That was really cool. But then like after that, I feel like that experience was really good. But then I went too heavy, too deep into some of the advanced rituals and angels and archangels, and was like doing some stuff that was just way too heavy for where I was at energetically. And even still, like it's been probably a month now. Even still, the idea of like doing a middle pillar or the LVRP right now feels exhausting to me. I don't know what the problem is. But I think it's just still that, like, I think it's still recovering, like, allowing everything to rest, allowing everything to come back together in its time. And I'm not mad at it. Like, I'm sticking with doing the mindful meditation in the morning, doing the breathing throughout the day, and just letting that kind of be my center while everything gets kind of reset.
Would you say, I think you probably like, I feel much the same way the past 2 weeks especially. Would you say like we had a bit of a meridian burnout? You know, they talk about overusing the energy centers and they blast out a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like for me, definitely, which the good thing about that is they say in all the books that when it comes back, it'll come back stronger, right?
Mm-hmm. And what's crazy is like the last thing I did the full-on rose cross. Then I did LBRP, LBRH, LIRP, LIRH, middle pillar, and then energy building all in this span of one ritual session. And by the end of that, I walked away. Like, it was like collapse. It was way too much.
That's what's really funny about that is I first tried that combination of ritual yesterday. Like I did, like last night, I had a bunch of time. Ash had gone to his like mindfulness course or whatever, or not whatever. That's where he'd gone. And I did, I did the Kabbalistic Cross, LBRP Kabbalistic Cross, which is like that. And then I did analysis.
Kabbalistic Cross, I was always like understood to be the start, transition, and end.
Yeah. So it's on either side. And then I did the ritual, the hex, so the LBRH. So that started with analysis of the keyword, LBRH analysis of the keyword at the end. And in between those two, I did a rose cross. The first time ever doing rose cross. I did the golden cross because I forgot that the circles were supposed to be red. Well, and I did them in gold. Yeah, that's the rose. That's the rose. Afterwards, gold. I read it. Yeah. Afterwards, I read it, and I was like, "That's the rose part." Oops. Like, you know.
Well, and the other big thing too that I think
palpitation.
One of the big things from Damien's course that I'm going to be bringing forward whenever I kickstart things back is not putting so much emphasis on trying to memorize things. Like he said, it's okay for you to like read stuff while you're doing ritual. The point isn't like to memorize everything. The point is to like have the right intention going into it. I think that's really kind of where the lessons I'm learning are leading me, is like, stay engaged in magic every day in whatever way you can. Like even at this point where I'm not doing super powerful magic, it's like I'm still consciously controlling my consciousness and like allowing the world around me to bend to my will, so to speak.
Yeah, I've got a question. Oh, Todd's here. I've got a question from him in a sec. But on that, like what happened yesterday to me, to speak to your experience of stacking all those rituals together, was I had heart palpitations all night, like all night until I went to bed. And that it was like unexplained. And I couldn't, it wasn't like painful or anything like that, but I was, just that feeling when you're aware of your heartbeat. And I hadn't had that since when I used to, take drugs and stuff. Like it's been a long time since I felt that way. And it was like really
terrifying things.
It's one of my, me too. It's like, and I also had like really cold, like it was like I was constantly having cold shivers on my spine. And I took that to mean for me that they were like, hey, are you ready for this? Like, just like I just did it because I had more time. I'd been reading about them and I thought, let's give it a shot. Todd had a really cool note there. He said, Jamie, can we get more into this? I think piling on rituals without clear purpose is the killer of fun and practical effect. But backing off all rituals after burnout. Yeah. This is, I like to, again, that's why I was like, I've got to tell you this thing first. But backing off all rituals after burnout seems extreme and counterproductive to energetic discipline. So I guess he wants you to get more into like how you've like backed off and sort of come slowly back to it.
I keep doing the breathing to keep myself centered. I keep doing mindfulness meditations every morning before work. Like I literally show up to work an hour early so I can spend an hour in the parking lot having me time to like do my mindful meditation and do some breath work and really just keep myself centered, keep myself aware of what's going on.
Yeah. But you're still doing like when you do your saying it just feels so Todd Barringer, I tend to agree with this as Kim Zach says, right? It feels a bit much. Yeah, even mindful meditation, says Todd, and breathwork is magic. I'm suggesting there is a baseline for the healthy energy body and possibly for one's conscious intent as well. And I think, like to say that, I think you'd probably agree with me that you're having a daily moment to be conscious with your energy. That's still your magic. And as you said, you're going into work and creating these worlds and making, like you're still connected very much to your magic all the time, even though ritual isn't the focus right now, right?
Right. Well, ritual could be anything too, and I think that's the thing that I've really started to learn as well. Is like I don't have to be like locked in a pitch black room in a like perfect like compass rose oriented fashion to do magic.
Yeah. I think like what I've really been discovering is that magic will talk to you. So to explain that is when I have 100%. A long time. Yeah, like a long time not doing it. I wasn't doing very much ritual. I was focusing on meditation. I'm doing a Buddhism course at the moment, insight meditation with Sharon Salzberg. I think I said her name right. And she's like a meditation teacher that worked with like Trungpa Rinpoche and a few people like that. And so I've been focusing on that, and I hadn't done ritual for so long. And then I had a dream about literally doing ritual last night. Right after I did that stacked amount of ritual where it was like, are you ready for this? And it kind of made me realize like magic was saying, well, like you need to find that middle road between last night and that scary, because that was my body reacting to a fight or flight experience, right? Cold chills and heart palpitations was like
the adrenaline shock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I didn't expect. I don't know, you get so used to it, you almost expect no reaction, and then you have one and go.
One of the things that I love that Todd did whenever I first joined the Damien Eccles community on Facebook was like there was a moment it was like I can't even remember what the post was, but he was like posting pictures of like extremely talented famous people and like calling them wizards, like Bob Ross with a paintbrush. I was like, man, that's great.
Yeah, I think we sort of call don't we call Damien the unofficial Bob Ross of magic? Like, I think that's been floated a few times in the group. So Todd was saying, basically, stop skipping middle pillar because you have to make it a transcendent experience. Or reading as Todd. There's a need to balance growth and life, says Zach. Shannon says, exactly. I would do ritual standing on a packed L train in Manhattan during rush hour. Shannon says, 100%. I've done middle pillar on a couch, sitting down with my legs crossed because I was so tired, and it's still just as effective. Look, on that, I do all my rituals sitting fucking down. Like, I have I am not, I'm sorry, angels, but it hurts to stand up for more than a minute and a half. You're not, like, it's, unless I'm going, blah, 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 done, like, it's not going to happen. Yeah. I feel like sitting down and giving them enough time to say their names is better than, like, standing up and, you know, doing it.
And I will say that's something that has come up in my like morning meditations is visualizing middle pillar sitting down. It's just I'm not doing the like full on standing up like traditional full sequence, I guess.
Well, the middle pillar I learned, which wasn't actually from, like, I read about it in High Magic, obviously, but for ages I had so much trouble at the time that I first started doing magic remembering god names. It was it was just like I couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't get my head around Hebrew for ages. Now it doesn't seem to be a problem. It's like the understanding comes after a while. But at the time, so I was using the YouTube video of Israel Regardie's middle pillar.
Oh yeah, you told me about this. You said it was like
really old school and like really it goes for ages. But there's like a long one, and then there's like one that's like about 10 minutes long, and he says in that okay, be seated. Like, that's like how he teaches it, was you should be sitting on a chair or sitting on a cushion. He actually says not to do it standing up because it can cause like disruptions in your energy field, and sometimes people have like gotten dizzy or passed out doing it. I
can see that. Probably locking their knees.
Locking their knees. Yeah, and moving around all that energy, you know.
Well, yes. I spent 8 years in the military. Like, the whole standing thing is like second nature.
Yeah, I don't. You sit in. So I've seen how you practice ritual. You sit with like on your knees, on your cushion. That to me, like, I can't. That's just pain to me. I can't even imagine. Yeah, so Brent was saying that for me, it's not just the physical meridian burnout, it's also the speed and intensity of the personal growth, which has come in with a hell of a lot of really hard lessons stacked on top. Makes the idea of stacking more rituals daunting. Yeah.
That's 100% true. Like, the things that magic exposes to you about yourself and the things you need to correct, while awesome, is also very disruptive.
Yeah. And like, you know, you and I have both talked about mixing like the Eastern traditions with these Western traditions, right? And like looking at, we both read that awesome David Nichtern book, Awakening I always forget the name of it. I could see the pink thing with the like Wheel of Samsara and the eye in the middle. Awakening I only just like commented.
I have it on my bookshelf. Awakening the Daydream or something.
That's it. Thank you. I was trying to say Awakening the Journey, and I'm like, that's not it. That's definitely not it. You know, and mixing those Eastern practices together. So the whole Buddhist thing is taking the way of the middle, like taking the balanced way, which is middle pillar again, but not going too extreme. So what they in this course I'm doing, they talk about asceticism, which is like giving up all your worldly possessions and blah blah, you know. And then excessiveness, which is the opposite, like greed, and that neither of those will help you have that transcendent experience. While both have their place, the Buddha was like a rich prince who had everything and then gave up everything to go find himself. What he discovered in that journey was that it's that middle balanced way that will like give you the answers, right?
It's so funny because I think about like life and what's missing now, and like what a lot of what I equate to like people who are ambitious. Really what they're trying to do is like earn a way where they can return to a more connected lifestyle, like where you can push away those responsibilities and be connected with life again on your own terms. And I think a lot of what we mourn is like getting rid of all the noisy things in our life and returning to a more native sort of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like I know like modern medicine's great and technology is great in certain ways. It's also horrible in certain ways, but like I would give it all away if I could go back to more like how things were when we were kids and you could run around in the woods and you didn't give a shit about what was going on in town over. And like you cared about the people that you lived with and you weren't so focused on like, well, fuck these people. I need to go find all the beautiful people who I'm going to fit in with and have this like vainglorious bullshit trip.
I mean, careful what you wish for, because I wish much of that, and I got a chronic illness. So
but, well, I mean, I'm the same way. I have like terrible blind vision. Like if it weren't for contacts, I'd be fucked. But it's just that notion of like being connected with nature and spirituality and not having so much of your life dominated by other people's will.
Yeah, and coming back to like just the true flow of things, right? That flow state, that's like what we're all trying to achieve, really. Yep. I think whether it's through like conscious magic or even just our unconscious way of stumbling through life. Like
I think there's an equilibrium. I think we can develop technology in a way that alleviates the burdens and allows us to flourish with nature as opposed to destroying it.
I mean, you're so ready for the age of Aquarius because that's literally what it's all about. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Like with that mind state, Shannon's saying 100%. Jamie, that's a big reason why I left New York City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Sydney for me.
Totally envious of her Mexico City journey.
I know. That's another thing we have in common is a city we both would love to like.
God, I would love
it and live in, and yeah.
I've only been to Mexico twice.
I've never been.
I grew up in Texas, and my first duty station in the Army was at Fort Bliss in El Paso. So I've been to Juarez, and then I went to a border town near South Padre Island when I was a kid, and had badass enchiladas.
Yes.
And elote.
Elote.
Yeah. It's probably a good thing I don't live in Texas, or I'd be like horribly out of shape.
I mean, being out of shape is fine. Says me.
I like being in the woods. And...
I mean, I could literally eat corn every day. So
yeah, especially the chili.
Yeah.
Mayonnaise.
So anyone who doesn't know, that's what elote is. It's like but I think they grill it, corn with like a chimney.
It's like slathered in like mayonnaise and
yeah, it's not like proper mayo. It's not like white people mayo, but it's not. It's like Mexican mayonnaise. It's and cheese and like chives and chili and goodness. Just
so good.
It is like one of the best things. Shannon's like, oh my god, Jamie knows what elote is. Yes. Yeah, I know
what a lot of things are that would surprise you.
Yes. Yes, this is a surprising person. This is
one of my favorite breakfast foods is migas.
Oh, stop. You're talking to a fatty here and a proud one, and I love my food, and now I'm just going to get off this thing and be like, at least migas is more accessible right now. I have eggs, I have vegetables, I have we actually even have like tortillas, I have avocados. I think that's probably going to be lunch, actually.
My favorite thing to cook is carnitas tacos.
I don't eat meat anymore, but yes.
I can respect that.
Little tiny, it's just it's like you said, that exploration of like the Buddhism thing. We've just kind of got to a place where we've eaten a lot of meat and we can't one of there's like the precepts of Buddhism, and they say that there's like one of them is not to kill, And so you don't have to be a vegetarian, but the idea is, I read about this just yesterday. They were saying like the idea is that if an animal has been like, so they used to send people out on pilgrimages when they were Buddhists, and they had to go, they could only eat what they were offered, right? They could only go to people's houses. And so if that person offered them food with meat in it, they had to take it. But if that animal had been killed just for them to eat it, they couldn't, they had to refuse it. They weren't allowed to take it, because then they're part of the process of the killing. And so each person comes to that. Ash was telling me his teacher teaches that each person comes to that and reconciles with that idea in the modern world, however they wish. So for us, the meat industry as it exists here at the moment, you know, with the lack of being able to buy from like a steer farm or something, means that that meat's being killed for us, right? So
what really bothers me about the way that meat is produced now is that the quality of life that the animals have is like non-existent. Like they're these like mass-produced animals that purely exist to become food.
I mean, they've made like lab chicken now. I'd be more likely to eat that than like
well and the only meat that I'll really buy is like the free range grass-fed like appropriately humanely treated animal products. I'm it's not also like super accessible in rural North Carolina, so
I'm not meat shaming you at all, man. Like, trust me,
it's all I'm getting at is it's something I feel for as well, and it's something I'm willing to spend the extra money on because it's something that's completely meaningful.
Yeah, and we were doing that as well. Like, and so that's what I say to people is like, it's not so much about not doing it; it's a personal choice for us. And I don't actually have a problem with it. My family are Argentinian, so they eat meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and probably in their sleep. Like their major export is beef. Like, it's not. I think I'm the only person in my entire family ever to have not eaten meat, like ever in the history of the whole entire family ever in the past. Like, there's never been a vegetarian, you know, like, but yeah, it's sort of like for us, a personal choice. But if I was to eat meat, it would be that. Like, what I want to see is a few more options for people to buy from. So steer farms are really good, where you pay to raise a cow and you give it a good life, and then when it comes the right time, you have part of its meat, but you've actually paid to help feed it and raise it and give it somewhere to live the entirety.
We actually raise chickens here.
Do you?
Yeah, I've got 5 chickens.
Actually,
they're only for eggs though. Like, I'm not gonna eat them.
I mean, if you murdered your own chicken, I'd actually respect you more than like if you. I mean, not that I don't respect you. Wow, wait, that came out wrong.
No, I get it. Like, I probably will when the time is right, but I don't have plans on just fattening them up and killing them.
Yeah. Eggs is fine. Yeah. Well, my friend had chickens. She
I've been very close to eating our rooster though, because that thing sucks.
Yeah, we used to live near a rooster. I don't recommend it. Yeah, chickens have personalities though, right? Like they each have like.
Oh, they're so fun to watch, especially when they're chicks. Like, we raised them from the time they were like itty bitty chicks. They were like in a tub under a red light in a bathtub.
Oh wow, that's so cute. That gives me like hard Easter show memories for anyone watching from Australia. We have like a show every year, and they have like a petting zoo, and they have this huge bathtub in the middle of the petting zoo every year with like the chickens, and they've got one of those slippery slides. They go into the water and then they climb back up the other side, and they just like they spend all day doing that, and it's just like a big childhood memory.
By far the best animals to watch though are otters.
Yeah, we don't have those here.
Well, I've seen them in zoos. I haven't seen them in the wild, but those things are fucking awesome.
Are they the ones that build the dams?
No, those are beaters.
Okay.
Otters are like really energetic. They're like really playful. They're like really
like
fun to watch.
The water ferrets with the little
Yeah.
Okay.
Super cool.
Oh, okay. Wait, we've got another. We've got Todd shouting at you, which I'm not even surprised at. So I'm just going to read it to you. Magick reveals with its frantic pace of, I should be like, Magick reveals with its friend. No, I can't do his voice. He tries. I'm about as good at doing Todd's voice as he is at doing mine. Let's just say that. Right. Magick reveals with its frantic pace of self-awareness the piddling rate and squandered energy of your sleeping life. However, when you hit the wall and stop cold because it's too much self-exposure, you do tangibly lose energetic momentum. I think to reduce and simplify and reconnect to the basics is more effective for waking life than a full stop. Do magic, Jamie! And then a winky face and a smiley face and a heart.
I sure will, Todd. And I haven't. I say that I've stopped, but all I'm saying is that I've stopped like doing the day after day routine, dedicated hour and a half ritual. I haven't stopped like, thinking about magic and engaging in magical activities.
Yeah, you definitely haven't stopped doing magic. I know this like to be fact that you haven't. The meditations we do aren't just like sitting there and like focusing on the breath. It's like there's a lot of magic involved there. You've been to the Star Temple a few times, which is like an astral space that we've like created. That's all I'm just gonna say that about it, because other than that, we just sound like crazy people. There's like an astral space that we go to. Everyone goes to when they meditate. I've got all the Australians talking about chickens now. Jay says, I can't wait to get chickens. 2021 goals after the garden is established. And Kim Zoomob says, the petting zoo at Sydney's Royal Easter Show. Holy shit, that takes me back. Right? Thank you. That's what I was talking about. It's like every year at Easter, we have this thing called the Royal Easter Show, and our like showground. So where they have like football games and concerts and shit in Sydney, which is like the major city of Australia, they like close the whole thing off, and it's like a fair. It's basically like a country fair. They have like the petting zoo, and they have art shows, and they have wood chopping, because that's a thing. And then they have like rides all over the place, and they have these things called show bags, which is just like the worst form of capitalism you've ever seen in your life. It's just a massive hall, and everything you can think of gets a show bag. Like if there's like there'll be a Rick and Morty show bag, or there'll be this cartoon show bag. There'll be like a show bag for Coca-Cola, which everyone would get every year. And then at night, they have like this grand spectacular show in the stadium, and everyone finds a seat and gets food. And they have like monster trucks, and they have like the Truckosaurus, and then they
it sounds like the state fair
pretty
in the
much.
States.
Pretty much,
yeah.
But they do this every night. And then like I had a massive cognitive dissonance time with it the last time I went as a teenager, when I realized like now I hate fireworks now, because what I do is, it's not the fireworks, all that smoke just slowly moving into the atmosphere. And I think about like how many, like for the Easter show, they have it on 20 nights of the year, right? So every night they're spewing that smoke into the air. And then with like New Year's Eve, the same thing. I think about everywhere in the world launching all this smoke into oh my God, it fucks with me, man. It makes me just like, I get a bit like, oh, now. And then like now COVID, too many people.
I really used to love fireworks, and I still kind of do.
Explosions. Yeah. They're pretty to look at. It's just
but
smoke.
I don't do like a ton. I don't do the smoky ones. All I do is the ones like that you put in the tubes, and they like shoot out of the tube and explode in the air in colors.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are incredible. The mortars.
Yeah, but is that what they're called? They go pew. Those ones.
These are more like the boom, pop.
Yeah, right. They're like we don't get to play with any of those here because they're illegal in Australia. Because some kid in the 80s burnt off his like fingers or some shit. Now you can't.
Somebody took a shit and everyone has to wear diapers.
Yeah. It's a bit like Australia's kind of totally the poster country for that.
Yeah.
Like one person gets something wrong and they punish the whole country for it.
Bullshit.
Yeah. We used to have like cracker night in the 80s. So anyone who's like older than like, I'm gonna say 30 in the comments, which I think is everyone. So we used to, in like the early 80s, there was like cracker nights, and there was like one night a year where they still let us all get fireworks, and you could just let them off, and it was like crazy town. You couldn't walk down the street, like everywhere. That's great.
My favorite time is we used to go to this lake house in East Texas growing up, and it was like the house, and then it like goes down a hill, and then there's this big dock that opens up to this giant lake. And there was a 4th of July. I went down there and dropped like $300 on fireworks and set them all off on the dock. Oh and God. It was like watching them explode over the lake was incredible.
Yes, that sounds like every teen movie I've ever seen in my life. Like your whole life sounds like every movie I've ever seen in my life, because our reference point for America is like TV. So.
Right. Well, my reference point for America is TV too. I mean, we're the neglected generation.
Yeah, raised by TV. Thanks,
parents.
Raised
by fucking TV. Yeah.
Thanks, parents. That was
by TV and the internet.
Yeah, both. Because you're an '80s baby. We're
85.
82. We're the midpoint generation where it was like we played outside, but we also had the internet.
You got to watch your whole world fucking collapse. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Why do you have no future plans?" And we're like, "What?"
I was telling my friends today, it was like every life experience I've had is like I go somewhere and it's like it was cool until you got here.
What? Like, until you got here?
No, not me specifically. I'm just saying like things were awesome, but then we got there and they were like changing things and it got lame.
And we've
ruined like you weren't allowed to do all the cool stuff anymore.
Yes, we've ruined it. I was raised by the internet for sure, says Jay. I don't know how old you are, Jessica. Jay is her pen name and online name and just her name, sorry. Tell me how old you are in the comments. I'm sure she'll see this in about 30.23 seconds. Tell us. I forget how old you are. I've had you on the podcast. I should know this. I feel like
guess.
I'm going to say 33. Like Denton, Jamie, said Zach.
Yeah.
I don't know what Denton is. Is that a
Denton,
place? I feel like it's in Ohio. Like that sounds right.
No, Denton's in Texas. It's like
okay.
It's like that's where Texas Motor Speedway is. I've been near there.
She's 34. She thinks.
I think.
I was pretty close. I said 33. That was pretty close. I think everywhere's in Ohio. Like every time one of y'all says like a name of a town, like
there's literally only one cool thing in Ohio, and that's Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah, I love Dave Chappelle. I actually ended up watching that SNL episode you told me about. That was amazing.
Oh, it's fucking great.
That was amazing. Just the way he calls out everybody, and then he's like, "What? What? You didn't think I was going to call you all out because you're watching? Okay." I really recommend it if you're in Australia. Not to give them a plug, but Binge has SNL, that stream motion new channel, because we've got 47,000 streaming services and no TV networks. They have SNL on there, and it was one of the best things I've ever seen. Is Dave Chappelle doing anything is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and he lives in the middle. I didn't know he lives in the middle of like buttfuck Idaho, like Ohio.
He lives in like
the same to me.
What's funny is the town that Dave Chappelle lives in is very similar to the town that I go hiking in.
Oh really?
Yeah, like it's kind of like the like liberal oasis in the middle of MAGA territory.
Oh wow! Do we need to rescue you? Like
nah.
You need rescue, and I mean no, not with your past. You're fine.
Good.
He's ex-military. He's fine. He can probably look after himself. Yeah.
What's funny is like in that whole community, like it's not probably what you would imagine at all. Like you probably look at like American military people and think like, oh, all of them are on the Trump train and it's probably a shit show, and it's like as far from the truth as you could possibly imagine.
Well, good. I hope so, because I'd really like all the people who know how to be proficient with their weapons not to be Trump supporters. That would be
for me, like as much as like we're in such a trying time right now, I'm still deeply American and deeply love the United States, and the notion that like this is one of the few places where like individual liberty is valued. Like we're in a weird like moment where capitalism's kind of fucked that a little bit, but like still the underlying principles are there, and there's still hope and opportunity to get it right. And I think like 1 4-year term of a shitty president shouldn't undermine that.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen and what we're going to see is a change in a lot of systems. Like I can say this, I live outside of your country, right? So I've got the privilege, I guess, of being able to say that from the outside. To me, the whole system is what needs changing. But what I think is coming, and rather than just like a breakdown of society and a breakdown of the whole system without replacing it, like leaving a vacuum without replacing it with anything good, is an adjustment to the system so that it is what it should be. Like
I agree.
I really loved
Bernie,
like what he was on about.
I think smart, compassionate people will prevail. I think Andrew Yang was the Bernie Sanders of the millennial generation. Like Andrew Yang was the guy that really got me excited, because I was like, this guy's thinking about things in a way that makes sense for the future. Not like, for me, Bernie Sanders was like the guy who would have been good in the 90s.
Yeah, nice. Is that just because of his age? Like, is that why you say that?
No, it's more like the ideals. It's more of the approach to the solutions, like the whole universal basic income thing, like like correcting the economic fallout of the emergence of the tech industry. Like,
well, that's what I was about to say, was that I feel like when I say the system needs to come down, what I see coming in its place is universal basic income, universal healthcare, and universal accommodation for people. And if we could get those 3 things figured out,
because I mean, at the end of the day, we have the technology to automate all the essentials that we need to survive.
Right.
Like, no one should be going day to day like, am I going to have food or a place to live or clothes?
Yeah, especially the food thing. We have enough food and food production resources in the world that everyone should be able to eat, but it's the disparity between resources.
Selfish bullshit people are starving right now.
That disparity of resources is where it's coming, and politics. Like really, this idea of, like you were saying before, the different violent cold, sort of like no borders. Why do we have them? That's true of the whole world. The reason that we've got certain countries facing such poverty and others not is like this political border country idealist system. Like we just need to sort of, and
it's really about priorities. It's like, what do we place our value in? And right now we don't place any value in human life and the sanctity of the human experience.
Yeah.
And it's very tragic, because like the only reason that we have the problems that we have is because of that. Like if people didn't have to hate each other because they had a hard time making ends meet, it would be a much better place.
Yeah, it's the big trick of the world that they made us all think we had to compete with each other, right?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah. It kind of like, this is where, conspiracy theories aside, when people talk about world orders and the people at the top controlling everything, this is why conspiracy theories run rampant, because 60-70% of the information they base their bullshit and craziness on is like true. Like there is a problem with the disparity of power. There is a problem with people up, a small percentage of people up the top, basically allowing these systems to continue. Like they've worked us into this whole thing of where,
well, if we're fighting each other and competing with each other, then we're not going to question why they own like the majority of the resources. Yeah,
like what's like Jeff Bezos at Shamazon, as we call it. He's like, oh wait, I'm gonna look it up. Daily.
Well, what's funny is he's the one you know about. The ones that freak me the fuck out are the people you don't know about, like this Jeffrey Epstein dude that I didn't know a fucking thing about until this year. And then it turns out there's like all this super sketchy shit going on. It enrages me.
And he's linked with every single person you've ever fucking known. Yeah. So Jeff Bezos earns an average wage. So they're going off UK stats, but the average wage every 28 seconds.
Jesus Christ.
An average yearly wage every like, here's one. Let's see if we can find it in like American dollars. So $156 billion net worth, $38 billion annual income, $38 billion a year he makes.
There was a thing that I saw that was like, why do we have billionaires? Like, there should be a point of enrichment where like you get cut off and you get a plaque that says, "Congratulations, you won capitalism."
Yeah. You've made it. Game over now. Stop playing.
Happy hour's over. You're cut off.
Just like a ceiling. Like, let there be a ceiling. Even, you know, like this idea that.
What really pisses me off about that is the notion that like you have people who actually do the work for your company, like you're sitting on top of their shoulders. They're having a hard time barely like making things come together, and you could easily, without any effort at all, end that suffering for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of like, and even now, like yours and I's privilege rests on the backs of other people, you know. But it's recognizing that makes a huge difference to like how you go about your day-to-day life. It's the lack of recognition that there's people underneath us that starts to cause problems for people. Like, and this applies not just to like capitalism and money and wealth, but also, you know,
it's like human, like being appreciated for your contribution to society is a universal concept.
Yeah,
like,
and
finding stability also, in your contribution.
And also, everyone contributes, even if they're not economically contributing. Like their contribution isn't measured by like what job they have or how much money they have or what they're making or how. Like that's the biggest thing I found when I got sick was I stopped existing as an economic entity. So I don't have in the work, like outside of the work I do, right? In society's view of work culture, I wouldn't be hired by most people because I can't, like if someone asked me to go get a file, for example, it would take me a long time and be worth, and it's just, that's not economically sound for them. So they can hire all these other people who could do the job easier. So therefore, like we have a welfare system here and they help me because their idea is
disabled.
Well, yeah, they don't. That's not why they help me. I don't count as disabled in our system here because my illness has a possibility of getting better and going into remission. It doesn't count as a disability. So even though I can't walk and I can't move around, so there's that. Then if I can't they help me on the basis of like I'm a job seeker. That's my right. That's what our welfare system is called. Is a job seeker. That initially I'm looking for work or trying to find enough of an income to pay my cost of living, but I can't look for work. And so therefore my economic worth stops right there. Like I can't, you know, and when that got taken away, I realized like people were like, well, how will you contribute to society? What will you do? And it's like, I'm doing things. I'm like, I'm creating art. I'm trying to teach people stuff about like tarot and magic. I'm formulating ways to deliver that as coursework for next year for the people on the Patreon. I'm doing this show, but none of it makes money. Like only just started the Patreon, so that's going to start making money, I guess. But none of this stuff made money. And they're like, yeah, but what's your contribution? Like that quickly becomes the only reason people think you exist for. And it made me, stepping out of it, made me realize.
There's a thing I read recently. It was like Kit Harington from Game of Thrones.
Love him.
And he was like blasting some politician in the UK because he was like, well, we could just retrain all the artists to be software engineers. I'm like, and me as a software engineer is like, that's the worst idea ever. Like, I love doing it, and it's still something that like you have to click with it. Like this whole notion of, oh, we'll just retrain everybody to do tech work. Like that's not a fucking thing. Not everyone's oriented to do tech work. And also, just like I'm not oriented to be an artist. I fucking suck at drawing.
That doesn't mean you're not an artist. You're creating whole worlds over there. But that's the thing though, like aside from like my romantic definition of the word artist, that's the thing though, is that people are putting too much value on one thing and not enough on like all the different things it can mean, right?
The thing that I've always really loved about art is like your window into the emotional state of humanity. Like artists are the ones that will give you the unfiltered, no bullshit view of like what's wrong.
Yeah.
Like if you have the courage to look and see, they'll fucking tell you.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, people looking at, oh, he's just a funny guy. No, that dude's spitting fucking truth.
Yeah. And most artists are, they're interpreting the world and, you know, making beautiful things, I guess, but also
because it's those experiences, like those emotional experiences that drive art.
Yeah. I was talking to James yesterday, and he was saying that, like, he said a really awesome thing about my art was that, like, it's real because it's like, I think the way he said it was like, it's fucking coated and dripping with pain. Like, because all of my like life experience of being someone who's in constant pain goes into like, and is channeled into like this thing that I draw and this thing that I, like, you almost made me cry. Like I was like, oh,
It's really good.
Yeah. And he's like, and that's why he loves it. Like that's what he loves about the things I make. And that's really what I kind of love about every artist, is that through their faculty of being more in touch with their emotions, whatever that looks like. It's not the same for every artist or every musician or every sculptor or every writer or every person making content. It's different. But we do this because ultimately, like I do Conceptionauts because I'm wanting to connect with people, because it's painful to not connect with people. Right. And lonely. Yeah. This is like the driving force behind it. Let's see. Wait, we've just got people coming in. Kim says, I found similar responses from employers for being a single mom. A lot seem to assume that I'll be called away for the kids and be a liability financially. Go figure. Yes, I hear you, Kim. I can't even imagine being a single mom.
Yeah, to the patriarchy.
Yes, death to the patriarch. Sorry. every opportunity I have to shout that into the heavens, I do. Jay says, I had to code as part of my game design. Oh, yeah. So Jay was also a game designer, by the way, just so
sweet.
She was pretty, it's pretty funny. She went like, we had opposite paths. And, yeah. She had to code as part of my game design degree, and I loved it, but it was painful for my brain. I could not do it 9 to 5 for any length of time and be happy. So
there was definitely a period of time, like, because I took a very weird path in life. Like I was in the Army and I started doing programming because it was like a fun hobby. And I got to this point where it was like, okay, do I stay in the Army or do I pursue this thing that I really enjoy doing? So I decided to go for it and got a job doing it. And there was a period there where I was like the first probably 2 years, I absolutely loved it. And then I hit a wall where I was like, I'm so burned out. It like almost made me nauseous to like even type on a keyboard. So I had to like really work through like having boundaries and making sure that I'm doing things in a way that's sustainable.
Yeah. You had to reassert like what you're, this is like this is what's happening with you with Magick right now. It's the same pattern, right? Exactly.
It's a very common pattern.
Shiva's just come back. She's like, I'm back. What did I miss? Did Jamie tell us how to get to the 6th dimension?
Yes, all of it.
You missed it, Shiva. You're gonna have to rewind. We went there, we came back, we brought back great knowledge, and now we're here talking about art.
They had cookies.
And cookies. And cookies? We brought
cookies. They had cookies.
Ah, yes. What kind of cookies?
You can't bring back the cookies.
No. You had to eat them there. They're in us, though. We've brought back the essence of the 6-dimensional cookies with us.
Yep.
They were very tasty. They were flavored like hope and love.
Tim Tams.
Yes. Did you hear that, Australians? I sent Jaime Still some Tim Tams and taught him.
And they're all gone because I slammed the fuck out of them.
Really? Because I sent you like the mega pack as well.
That thing lasted like a week.
That's actually, I'm impressed because Shannon, did you just see Shannon's comment? I had to make dinner after all the food talk. Sorry, I'm making migas when I get off this call. So.
Every time I see Shannon's like social media posts of like, oh, I just walked down the street and found this badass like organic food thing with agua fresca. I'm like, I'm so fucking jealous.
Yeah. We want to be you, Shannon, or like live near you. She's gonna open up. We talked about this on our podcast. She's gonna open up a store called Esoterica, and it's gonna be a magic supply store and cafe, and you can come get like tarot cards and magic supplies and herbs and apothecary, and then come have tea and coffee. There will be coffee, so I'm there, and it's gonna be called Esoterica, and all her magic friends are gonna come over and
I'll tell you, in 10 years. In 10 years, I'm going to retire and sell every fucking thing I have. And I'm just going to go live in a box behind her shop.
I said something very similar to this. I was like, can you put dorm rooms above Esoterica and can we work for our rent? Like, I will live there. Like, I will, honestly. You're all welcome, she says.
Or we could put it on Fam Ranch.
I mean, you could just build your Fam Ranch in Mexico City and
I'm fucking down with it.
We'll just all move to...
Is there like country outside of Mexico City? It'd be fucking sweet.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure. Like you can find some good land. Yes, Jess says Jay says Tim Tams are so Moorish. They very much are. I had to introduce him and get him addicted entirely to a biscuit that's like not here. Yes, Shannon.
Let's just have a commune. Fuck
yeah. Shannon's like, let's just have a commune. I don't know if anyone can see this. Can I? Oh, I can look. I can do this. Oh, wow. Ooh, I probably should have done them in order. I'm just leaving that up there because, like, that's like the theme now. We're gonna have a commune. We'll try not to. There has to be an established system of socialist rule so that there's no one ruler and we don't end up being shut down by
bullshit out of there.
Well, we don't want to be shut down by the CIA. Oh my god, I was gonna say we don't want to be shut down by the CIA because of like some like Waco fucking crazy.
I literally lived like 40 minutes from that when it happened.
That is so crazy to me. It's what there's like these defining moments of history that happen through my childhood that I remember through the lens of TV and seeing a TV. And one of them, one of them was obviously 9/11 because I think the whole world we woke up to that. That happened in our morning.
Man. I was a sophomore in college and I was some teacher came into our American history class and was like, you got to turn on the TV. A plane just flew into the World Trade Center. I remember thinking like, oh man, that guy fucked up. I thought it was like an accident.
Yeah.
And then they turn it on and then literally like 20 seconds later, boom, plane number 2.
That was my exact experience of experiencing 9/11. Like exactly that. Like someone rang us. I was at like a boyfriend at the time's house and staying over here. He was still in school and I was like just out of school and like, sorry. Yeah, he was still in high school and he was getting ready for school and someone was like, turn on the TV. Have you watched the news this morning? And I sat there and like, I was like, oh, we're going to turn on the TV. And I turned it on and I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty crazy. And as I said, crazy, you saw the second plane coming in. And I was like, it was obviously a replay because it was happening. It had already happened. Like, right. But we saw, and I was just like,
might as well have been real time.
Yeah, like that was me experiencing it. Right. Like that was insane. Like that was an insane moment. He was in middle school for 9. Jamie is 35, Shiva. He's in my generation. I'm claiming him.
That is very good that you were not in New York City that day, Shannon.
Yeah, it was very good that you weren't in New York. I'm glad you were. I'm glad my parents decided to move from New York to Australia.
I remember like after that moment, I spent a lot of time watching like the response to that, like all the crazy military shit that was going on in the news. And that's why eventually I was like, I should probably go do something.
Yeah. Is this, so did you join because like after that? Not because of it, but after it. Would you say after it?
It definitely influenced it. I was definitely like, because like, there's a very deep military history in my family. Like my great grandfather was a Marine Corps pilot in World War II, and my great great grandfather was an infantryman in World War I. And I literally have a book from when they walked from France to Germany fighting. Like, it's crazy as fuck.
Yeah, that's nuts. The military.
So there's that. And 9/11 definitely like spurred. And of course, I grew up in like conservative Texas, where they're like, God, guns in America.
Yes, God's guns and go. Well, not government, but you know, close enough. Country. Yeah, that was the how we got onto 9/11. This is conversations with us, everybody. Like you're witnessing basically what it goes was like talking about the commune, and I was saying that 9/11 Waco was another one that was like embedded in my memory from like young.
The Oklahoma City.
Yes, that as well, and then like the school shooting.
O.J. Simpson, the Blazer.
They're trying to say the
Bronco.
The Bronco. Yeah, yeah. Jay's saying that they want to make a commune. We have to get Angie and Ash down from New South Wales first to Melbourne. No, we're going to move overseas. This country is about to be uninhabitable in a sec, and we're probably going to go somewhere much colder. Is the plan? Just so you all know. New Zealand's looking really good. Canada's also looking really good. I don't know. Just like Ash has already been involved. Sorry.
Canada has legal weed, and New Zealand is fucking weird and decided that euthanasia should be legal but not weed. What the fuck? I mean,
I'm all for like not euthanasia, but I think we should have the right to choose as autonomous beings.
I agree with
that. I think that will be that will.
I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm saying it's odd that they like
autonomy in one sense, but not in the other. Yeah.
You're allowed to decide when you should die, but
I feel like it's a bit of a, you know, wait for a few older people to die and that will change kind of decision.
I've been feeling like that for the last 10 years. Fuck.
Yeah, like generally.
Man, it's like really bad for me because I'm like a federal employee, so it has to be like no shit legal for me to engage in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. You're not missing that much right now. Like it's.
Nah, I'm digging life. I know that will have its time and place in my life.
Yeah, it's not really a I'm actively sober at the moment, so I had like a experience with a cannabis plant that I've told you about where it embodied itself into like a being and was like, what are you doing? I'm not secret anymore. What the hell? And so I stopped doing that.
The thing for me is like I hate drinking, so I've never had that like social release that everyone else has.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, actually, but this is kombucha, people. Just so
Kombucha's good.
Yeah, it looks like a beer. You asked if it was a beer earlier, and it's not a beer because I am boring. No, I'm not.
Foster's Australian for beer.
No one here drinks that.
Of course
just
not.
So you know, no one.
Just like y'all don't eat at that fucking Outback Steakhouse either.
No, although we do have fuck. Sorry, we have what's it called? Can someone in the comments remind me what the steakhouse place is called here? You know, we have the place and they have like steaks that cook for a whole day and like we have like a chain of them, and I thought they were American anyway, but they're supposed to be like an Outback Steakhouse place. Foster's. Oh yeah, wait, yeah. I'm on top of things. I know what's going on.
You said beer, and it was very much like the way they say beer.
Beer? Oh, like with an Australian accent. You mean? Oh, so I was supposed to say beer. Beer.
You kind of lost it. You lost the R.
Beer. No, we're still saying the R. We just say the double E's right. You guys say beer, and we say beer. You know, kind of like a Kiwi bear. Oh, look, it's a big scary bear. You know?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, we should just probably end with like the hog's breath. Thank you, Kim. It's called hog's breath. I've always thought it was American.
That's weird.
Because they have 24-hour slow cooked steaks or whatever. I mean, I don't eat that. So
the only way you're supposed to have a steak is when that shit's like
blue.
No, it should only take you like 3 minutes to cook a steak.
Like I said, actively vegetarian right now, but I agree, much agree. Like there should be. My parents in South America, if you like they are the opposite. It has to be blue or bleeding. Anything over that, and you've ruined the meat.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is.
You do have to let it rest for like 20 minutes after you cook it, though.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely rest that thing, but don't. If it's not juicy, it's not juicy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They have curly fries like pig's tails. They do. Hog's breath do. They have these potato fries that are like just curly fries. I don't know. Do you guys have curly fries over there? I feel like it's an American. I've always thought they were an American restaurant.
Curly fries are great, but I avoid them at all costs. I avoid fries, period, because like they make me feel like shit. You
don't like chips? I mean, we call them chips.
There's a difference between like and like banishing it from your life because it makes you feel terrible.
You know, if I employed that, I'd probably be a lot more healthy. Like mee goreng, which you guys call ramen. Like doesn't make me feel good, but I eat it anyway.
Oh, I got spoiled when I lived in Hawaii. There's this place called, what the fuck was the name of that place?
How are we talking about food again? We're both obviously so hungry.
Yeah. Ezogiku ramen, and it was in Pearl City, Hawaii, and that shit was the bomb. Like it tasted like when I went to the ramen shops in Japan.
I mean,
they do like the big bowl, and it's got like the like slice of pork in there, and it's got all the, like the vegetables and the Naruto in there. It's fucking great.
I like Naruto. Did you say?
Yeah, that's what that little fish cake thing is called.
Yeah, and like in is it in Ponyo? I think in Ponyo. I'm a Miyazaki person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ponyo is fucking cool.
Yeah. Ham. I love ham.
I feel like everyone should watch Ponyo on mushrooms, and the world would be a better place.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Princess Mononoke. 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 I always say it wrong. We watched it the other day, and I realized I was like, this is like Japanese Avatar, which is just American Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, which you probably don't know what that last reference is, but
I do.
Yeah, that was like an Australian movie that had American actors in it, which is weird. Yeah, Robin Williams was in it. He made it the same year he made Aladdin, and totally got overshadowed by Aladdin.
Yeah.
Like, I recommend it. If no one's seen it out there, Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest.
You know my favorite movie with Australia is?
What?
The Rescuers Down Under.
The little mice.
When you're a kid and you see that kid flying around with that fucking eagle, that's some magical shit.
That's some magical shit. That's some Lord of the Rings magical shit.
I want to fly on a golden eagle.
All right, Gandalf. I think, like, you know what? You've actually made me really hungry.
Sorry.
It's okay. I was going to say, when I get better, like when I can walk again and stuff, I reckon we should just travel the world, and you can do like a food tour of the world. You can take.
I'll be the new Anthony Bourdain.
I mean, take me to just
not killing myself.
I was going to say no hotel cupboards with asphyxiation, please. Yeah, you could take me, and like Shiva Kami is saying, mushrooms are legal in Oregon now. Let's build a commune there. I'm down for that.
As long as it's not anywhere near Portland.
What's wrong with Portland?
It's a fucking war zone.
Is it?
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
I probably should be more up
like
to date.
I don't have anything against Portland itself. I just don't want to get murdered.
Yeah, right. Sorry, Portland. You're out. Risky asphyxiation. Yes, that's what happens to Anthony Bourdain.
That's what happened to David Carradine too.
Well, yeah. Let's not go into that. It could take a turn.
Stay away from Thailand.
Oh, do you reckon he was? Yeah. Do you reckon he was? I've heard the rumors of this, that he was like murdered because of like some ancient fucking secrets.
There's no telling, man. I've been the only place I've flown across the Pacific 22 times, and I've been to many places in Asia. The only place that I really felt comfortable and truly enjoyed was Japan.
Yeah.
Philippines was depressing.
Yeah, like for the poverty.
The poverty, the human exploitation going on there, it's like depressing as fuck. I hate it.
Yeah. Problems we're gonna fix. This is what I mean. If we start this commune, we show people how to live. Or like not show them how to live, but just be like, look, this is possible if we all just get along, basically not jerks to each other, share
just have
resources.
to pay taxes so they don't like come and fucking kick us off or kill us.
I mean, yeah, that's if
you pay taxes, you're good.
If we share our ways with everyone, what we really need is just like a new island that's not claimed by anybody, and build a commune there, and then just be our own nation, and not have anything that they want to take from us, so no one invades us or takes us over.
But then you're like in that weird state where you like have to become part of the global economy.
Yeah, but do you? Do you really? What if the global economy falls by then?
I mean, that's what fucks up all these like. That's what fucks up all these like foreign countries where, like, corporations and shit want to come in there and like plunder all the resources and
yeah, that's what I mean. We just have enough resources for people to live off and no excess, like just enough. You know,
they'll even take that though.
Shivakami said, Norway. I would move to Norway in a second.
Absolutely.
If someone just went, here's a ticket, here's the internet.
The bad thing about Norway is it's like cripplingly expensive. And you have to like pay to use the loo there.
You have to pay to use the loo. But the reason, you know why it's expensive though, is because they all agree to pay their taxes because the taxes go to services that work. I've heard about this. They're like, we don't mind paying the taxes because the taxes.
I've always thought
we have everything.
Maybe it's a very solid model for how to set shit up.
Yeah, and it's nice and cold there half the year, and I really like that.
I would do Iceland too.
Yeah, Iceland is beautiful. The only thing wrong with Iceland is that it'd be that thing you said before of like the people go there and ruin it, and it was better before we went there. You know?
You're right.
It's a tiny, tiny place, and there's too many of us.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll make it somehow. If not, you know, there's always the astral world. Like, we are trying to build the light bodies and get to like the next world, right?
Say like to hell with this physical existence stuff.
Yeah, just build that golden body, that rainbow body. Teach people how to love each other. I think. Look, I have great hopes for humanity. We're a couple of weeks off this change of eons. I really think there will be a big shift in the way that we treat each other. Yeah, we're basing. That's right. We're basing all our ideas off like where it's been so far, and I think like a new world really is possible. And you
literally only been alive for 30-something years.
In the what? Sorry.
So we've literally only been alive for 30-something years.
Right. We've got a whole bunch of time to make like a new sixth dimension. Anyone? Says Shivakami. Yes. Just bring it here. We can make the sixth dimension exist right here, right now with us.
I have the weird idea that like when you die, it like as above, so below. Like when you die, that's whenever you take all of the experiences that you've had in your conscious life and create your own universe. Like you divide your conscious energy into physics. Like you create your own tree of life and establish your own physical reality based on like the evolution of what you've learned in this physical reality.
I mean, that fits in with like the parallel universes idea, right? If each consciousness creates,
it's a fractal of universes. Like you're born, you die, and then that's a new fractal universe, and your conscious gets split into all the physical consciousness in that universe, and you get to experience yourself.
So, okay, who's the creator of this universe then?
It's
are we just one of? Are we just one of those? Though?
Yeah,
we could be just one of those.
I mean, where's the start and stop to any fractal?
Double blow. Wow.
I mean, they call it divine infinite energy for a reason.
Yeah, I think it's just a big. This is what
It's a hamster wheel.
the latter. Shiva Kami says that's basically what Latter-day Saints Mormons believe. Oh, that made me sad. Didn't they get their religion from a hat? I thought they got their religion from a hat. Like, didn't he like go out into the forest and look in a hat? And I don't know. My whole basis of information from the Mormons is like that one South Park episode, you know, dum 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 dum. So like, that's everything I know about Mormons.
We're being very intolerant right now, Angie. Gotta stop that.
I know, but I'm sorry. That's like, I'm sorry, Mormons. That's where all my information about Mormonism comes from. So I'm vastly misinformed and
at the end of the day, I don't know like at all what happens, and all I can do is speculate because I am big.
Yeah, we're just a little fucking spoke in the spiderweb wheel of existence. Yeah. I you know, the more Magick has given me that. If it's given me nothing else, it's given me like a sense that I feel like
Magick is definitely exposed that we exist beyond just our physical selves. Like there's a definite like, shared space that we exist in outside of this.
Yeah, I think we're all God, and I think like each of us is a part of the one consciousness, God, and so it helps me. Look, if it's all in my head, it helps me deal with my life and my existence. Like every time someone attacks me, I know that person is just me at a more unconscious point in their life, and therefore I can't hate them or be hurt by them, but I can pity them and love them because they're actually a part of me, and therefore I'm loving them. And isn't that right? And isn't that like the key to like getting along? Really, is just like realizing.
And I think that's where all the strife comes from. Is that everyone's evolving at just such different paces. Like the things that people get hung up on, like are things that you resolved fucking years ago. You're like,
yeah. We talked about this a bit before we got on, right? Like how resentments come from.
Yeah.
I was saying to Jamie before we started the podcast that NA and AA, like 12-step programs, teach that resentments come from you. So no matter what else someone else does, even if they're a shitty person, the idea is to analyze how that resentment is born in you and where it comes from in you and why you're reacting that way based on a few different filters. Like, is it part of your fears? Is it part of your prejudices? Does it affect you on a physical level? Does it affect your resources? Where does it come from? Why do you feel that way about that person's action? Like, and it removes you from what they've done and puts the onus back on you to like self-realize why we react a certain way. And that's like what they call doing inventory on yourself. So every time a resentment comes up, you do inventory on it, you put it through these filters and figure out why you feel that way. And it really releases you from feeling that way. Like you start to realize everything, every reaction we have, we are actually in control of our emotions, and we are in control of what we do and how we react. And like that's power, because I think the suffering in life happens because we feel out of control, you know. I'm getting better at Sanskrit, so I'm gonna give this a shot, Shiva. She said, Brahma Satyam, tell me how I go. Okay, so Brahma Satyam, Jagad Mithya, Devo Brahmiva Napara. God is truth, the universe is an illusion, the individual is no other than God. The Vedanta. Oh, this is your things, the three truths that someone said. I can't remember who said it. The Brahma Satyam, God is truth. Jagad Mithya, the universe is an illusion, and Jevo Brahmiva Napara, the individual is no other than God. I think I did that really well. Tell me how I did Jivakami, because I've been practicing.
That's actually really cool, because I liked what Damien said about the different ages, where he was like, you know, the age of Taurus was the age of polytheism, and the age of Aries was the age of monotheism. The age of Pisces was celebrating God as man, and now the age of Aquarius is celebrating man as God.
Yeah, moving into our God consciousness, which is just a word for divinity for anyone who has religious associations with the word God. That is my dance. That's my dance. God is us. We are God. Da, da, da. She said I was pretty damn close. Awesome. I wish I could bring you on to like just. I'm sure there's a way I can do that, but I haven't figured out how. Yeah. Just come on. Just get on the stream, Shiva Kami. Just do it. Just do it, Shiva Kami. No, I'm like, sorry. All right, I'm descending into ridiculousness, and it's almost 2:30, which
it's probably like your longest podcast yet.
I mean, that's okay. We can break records. We're like record breakers. This is what happens when you get the twins together. I think we're about to like break the record with me and Shiva's podcast though. We're at 2 hours and 12:30. I can't count. We're almost at 2 hours. So I feel like I can't remember how long Shiva and I went, but I feel like it was pretty close to 1 hour and 40 minutes. So I think we broke a new record. Let's just call it a new record. It's got to be like 11 p.m. for you almost, right?
It is 10:20.
Okay, that's not too bad. But
no,
you do have to work, and you do have to
actually sleep. I took the fucking day off tomorrow.
Oh yes. Okay. You better
playing Cyberpunk in my undies and doing Magic.
Oh, I hate you. I can't get Cyberpunk. I can't get it till next year. Like I can get it, but I shouldn't because I should spend that money on other people for Christmas.
Right.
You know. Yeah. So I'm probably gonna get it next year. The Gemini podcast. Actually, Jamie is a Gemini. The twins. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The whole time this morning, Ash was calling this the Stillcast.
The Still.
He kept saying to me, "What time's your Stillcast?" I was like, "That's so funny that you're calling it that." So, thank you. She's honored to pass the torch to Jaime Still.
This is going to be like a back and forth thing. I feel like we're going to be regulars in the next one. Shiva's going to like crush it.
Yeah, Shiva's coming on. She's coming on again. Todd's coming on again. I'm basically just going to start 2021 with like a repeat of all my favorite guests. Like, I might be having a break next week. I don't know. Or we might be having another guest. I'm just waiting to see if she feels like doing it. You know who you are. If not, we're having like a bit of a break next week. And then my friend and mentor Josh is coming on.
I've loved all the podcasts with our common friends. I'm just going to say that now.
Yeah.
They've all been wonderful.
It's been pretty good, right? Like having people just hang out here. And this has been heaps of fun. And it's good because I just got to hang out with you for 2 hours, which if no one was watching, I'd enjoy this just as much.
Exactly.
So thank you. Thanks for coming on. You've had a hell of a week. Like,
it's been fun.
What were you going to say? Sorry, not to cut you off.
I don't even remember.
Just said I'm glad. I think you just said I'm glad. I think
I've had the time to hang out with you, but also hang out with you in a way that like is shared with other people. There's something really neat about that, like having meaningful dialogue with other people who you respect.
Oh, thank you. The Zoo Kim says, "Lovely to meet you, Jamie." She follows you. I think she follows you on Facebook.
Yeah, I follow her on Facebook too. She's awesome.
She's my best bone witch. She's amazing. And Shiva Kami Essa. The Todd Barringer Albright one was good, and the Beneza Valdez Hancock one was good. They were all good, Shiva Kami. But yes, the best ones have been like my best friends. So it's been really good I'm so glad, like all of those people, to know you, to call you my twin, to have this time with you. Thank you. Hang tight for a sec. I'm just going to say goodbye to everyone. Thanks once again, everyone, for traveling with us on the Conceptionauts, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Traveling.